as a matter of fact, our age is no more insecure than any other. Poverty, disease, war, change, death are nothing new. In the best of times, security has never been more than temporary and apparent. But it has been possible to make the insecurity of human life supportable by belief in unchanging things beyond the reach of calamity, in God, in man's immortal soul, and in the government of the universe by the eternal law of right. 64,000 is the median number of words per book. Average person reads about 200 words per minute. Simple math will tell us that is one book in 320 minutes. To accomplish this in 7 days, numbers say you would have to read for 45 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification button, like, comment, and share. Enjoy. Welcome to the Book of the Week series. Every week as I read another amazing title, I share it with the world. My name is Igor S.F. Walker. Today we look at Wisdom of Insecurity, a message for an age of anxiety by Alan Watts. So how about you slow down and relax? Reduce all that noise for just a bit. Make that choice and decide to listen. In this video, we look at a book slowly building toward very difficult concepts, centered above all on the concept that there is no individual ego self. Stick around till the end. I will share with you some tools I do have and use that will help you tremendously in this game of life. Discover a way to find out what actually motivates you, what innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. I will share some tools to improve your self-awareness, your social awareness, your self-management, and your relationship management. No external experience will support us because the flux of events is inescapable. Time itself is a creation of a restless mind. Space has been created by the same mind to give itself room to wander, when in fact there is no space beyond a mental construct. And like all constructs, eventually it turns into a prison. These are difficult ideas to grasp, even more difficult to abide by, as a mirror of our own inner division. We have fragmented the world into inner and outer experience. We embrace our separateness without realizing that there's only but one reality. The universe is a single process occurring in consciousness, the great stream. And only by merging into that process can we discover who we really are. There is then the feeling that we live in a time of unusual insecurity. Over the past 100 years, so many long-established traditions have broken down. Traditions of family, of social life, of government, of the economic order, and of religious belief. As the years go by, there seems to be fewer and fewer rocks one can eventually hold onto, which we can regard as absolutely right and true and fixed for all time. To some, this is a welcome release from the restraints of moral, social, and spiritual dogma. To others, it is a dangerous and terrifying breach with reason and with sanity, tending to plunge human life into hopeless chaos. To most, perhaps, the immediate sense of relief has given a sense of exhilaration to be followed by the deepest of anxieties. If happiness always depends on something expected in the future, we are chasing will-o'-the-wisp that ever eludes our grasp until that future and ourselves vanishes into the abyss of death. We must here make a clear distinction between belief and faith. Because in general practice, belief has come to mean a state of mind, which is almost the opposite of faith. Belief, as I use the word here, is the insistence that the truth is what one would leave or wish it to be. The believer will open his mind to the truth on condition that it fits in with his perceived ideas and wishes. Faith, on the other hand, is an underserved opening of the mind to the truth, whatever it may turn out to be. Faith has no preconceptions. It is a plunge into the unknown. Belief clings, faith lets go. In this sense of the word, faith is the essential virtue of science, and likewise of any religion that is not actually self-deception. Most of us believe in order to feel secure, in order to make our individual lives seem valuable and meaningful. Belief has thus become an attempt to hang on to life, to grasp it, to keep it for one's own. But you cannot understand life and its mysteries as long as you try to grasp it. We have become accustomed to the idea that wisdom, that is knowledge, advice, information, can be expressed in verbal statements consisting of specific directions. If this is true, it is hard to see how any wisdom can be extracted from something that is impossible to define. And in fact, the kind of wisdom that can be put in the form of specific directions amounts to very little. And most of the wisdom which we do employ in everyday life never came to us as verbal information. It was not through statements that we learned how to breathe, how to swallow, how to see, how to circulate the blood, how to digest the food or resist disease. Yet, these things are performed by the most complex and marvelous processes which no amount of book learning and technical skill can actually reproduce. This is real wisdom. But our brains have little to do with it. We have been taught to neglect, to despise, to violate our bodies, to put all faith into our brains. Indeed, the special disease of civilized man might be described as a block or a schism between his brain and specifically cortex and the rest of his body. This actually corresponds to the split between the I and me, man and nature, and adds to the confusion of the Ouroboros, the mixed up snake, who does not know that his tail belongs with his head. As a consequence, we are at war with ourselves. The brain desiring things which the body does not want, and the body desiring things which the brain does not allow. The brain giving directions which the body will not follow, and the body giving impulses which the brain cannot understand. Modern civilization is almost in every respect a vicious circle. It is insatiably hungry because its way of life condemns it to perpetual frustration. As we have seen, the root of this frustration is that we live for the future. And the future is an abstraction, a rationale, inference from experience, which exists only for the brain. The primary consciousness, the basic mind, which really knows rather than having ideas about it, does not know the future. It lives completely in the present and perceives nothing more than what is, that is this moment. The ingenious brain, however, looks at that part of the present experience called memory, and then by studying it, it is able to make predictions. These predictions are relatively so accurate and so reliable. Example, everyone will die. That the future assumes a high degree of reality, so high that the present loses its value. But the future is still not here. And it cannot become a part of our experience and be experienced reality until it is present. Since what we know of the future is made up of purely abstract and logical elements, inferences, guesses, deductions, it cannot be eaten, felt, smelt, seen, heard, or otherwise enjoyed. To pursue it is to pursue a constant, retreating phantom, and the faster you chase it, the faster it actually runs ahead. How are we to find security and a peace of mind in a world whose very nature is insecurity, impermanence, and unceasing change? All these questions, they actually demand a method and a course of action. And at the same time, all of them show that the problem has not actually been understood. What we do not need is action. Yet, we need more light. Light here means awareness, to be aware of life, to be aware of experience as it is in this moment without any judgments or any ideas about it. In other words, you have to see and feel what you are experiencing as it is and not as it is named. There are then two ways of understanding an experience. The first is to compare it with the memories of other experiences, and so to name it and to define it. This is to interpret it in accordance with the dead and the past. The second is to be aware of it as it is, as when, in the intensity of joy, we forget past and future, we let the present be all, and thus do not even stop to think, I am happy. Both ways of understanding, they have their uses, but they correspond to the difference between knowing a thing by words and knowing it immediately. The point then is that when we try to understand the present by comparing it with memories, we do not understand it as deeply as when we are aware of it without any comparison. This, however, is usually the way in which we approach unpleasant experiences. The key is understanding, to ask how to do this. What is the technique? What is the method? What are the steps and rules? Is to actually miss the point utterly. Methods are for creating things which do not yet exist. What we are concerned here is understanding something which is the present moment. This is not a psychological or spiritual discipline for self-improvement. It is simply being aware of this present experience and looking, realizing that you can neither define it nor divide yourself from it. There is no rule, but look. By trying to understand everything in terms of memory, the past, and by words, we have, as it were, had our noses in a guidebook for most of our lives and have never actually looked at the view. Going beyond thought is not reserved to men of genius. It is open to all of us, insofar as the mystery of life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. It is given to many to be seers, but to few to be prophets. Many can listen to music, but few can perform it and compose it. But you cannot even listen if you can only hear in terms of the past. So long as the mind is split, Life is perpetual conflict, tension, frustration, and disillusion. Suffering is piled on suffering, fear on fear, and boredom on boredom. The more the fly struggles to get out of the honey, the faster he's actually stuck. Under the pressure of so much strain and so much futility, it is no wonder at all that men seek release in violence, in sensationalism, and in the reckless exploitation of their bodies, their appetites, their material world, and their fellow men. What this must add to necessary and unavoidable pains of the existence is actually incalculable. But undivided mind is free from tension, of trying always to stand outside oneself and to be elsewhere than here and now. Each moment is lived completely, and there is thus a sense of fulfillment and completeness. When each moment becomes an expression, an expectation, then life is deprived of fulfillment, and death is dreaded, for it seems that here expectation must come to an end. While there is life, there is hope. But if one lives on hope, death is indeed the end. But to the undivided mind, death is another moment, complete like every moment, and it cannot yield its secrets unless lived to the fullest. Nothing is more creative than death, since it is the whole secret of life. It is perhaps enough to realize for the moment that this is one of the biggest open questions of science, which is far from reaching a decision. The idea that the past determines the present can be an illusion of language, because we must describe the present in terms of the past. It would actually seem that the past explains the present. To say how something happened, we describe the chain of events which precede and seem to be a part of it. The bottle smashed. It fell on the floor. I let it go. My fingers were slippery. I had soap on my hands. So long as there is a motive to become something, so long as the mind believes in the possibility of escape from what is at this moment, there is no freedom. We are then most fortunate to be living in a time when human knowledge has gone so far that it begins to be at a loss for words. Not at the strange and the marvelous alone, but at the most ordinary things. The dust on the shelves has become as much of a mystery as the remotest of the stars. We know enough of both to know that we know nothing. Eddington, the physicist, is nearest to the mystics. Not in his area of flights or fancy, but when he says quite simply, something unknown is doing we don't know what. In such a confession, thought has moved full circle, and we are again as children. And there you have it. Wisdom of Insecurity, a message for age of anxiety. Now, please do help out. It is easy. Simply like this video. Like it so more people can enjoy it. Share it. Share it too and spread the word. Do leave a comment and share your thoughts. Subscribe to my channel. Stay up to date. And the link to this book is in the description below. So buy it, read, never stop learning. Especially learning about yourself and about nature. So gift yourself by taking the free human needs test on my website and find out what actually motivates you, what innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. And if you feel you are ready to improve your self-awareness, your social awareness, your self-management, and relationship management even further, well, do check out my Master of Life Awareness program. The links are in the description below. Thank you. Love and respect.